Hi, and welcome to the Q&A with the Dumpling Coaches. My name is Ashley, and I'm one of the coaches here at Dumpling. And joining me is Sarah, our other coach, to talk about the basics of getting started on dumpling. So let's dive into it.
So number one, the basics of doing kind of personal shopping well and how to kind of go about that, because it can be overwhelming when you're first starting out, especially if you don't have an idea of personal shopping. So whether you're coming from another service and you have a lot of experience or you have little to no experience, here are some kind of easy tips for you guys to give that 5-star experience to your clients. So number one, check the item dates. It doesn't matter if you're pulling it all the way from the back. Always just check the dates on absolutely everything. Canned items, dairy items, meats, check the dates. Super, super important, because there's kind of nothing worse than getting an order, whether it's you shopping for yourself and then you get home and you're like, oh, that yogurt expires in 2 days. Not helpful if you need it at the end of the week. So continue to always check those dates. Number two would be the cleanliness of your car and the bags that you use. So a lot of us shoppers, we use reusable insulated bags or reusable bags in general that you take into the store to then bag all of the groceries, as a lot of states no longer carry plastic. So I wipe out all bags. So whether it's my insulated or the regular reusable ones, I wipe them down with a Lysol wipe or a disinfectant wipe after every single use, or when they kind of start to show a lot of wear. I tend to have bags for each individual client, so they're not going from house to house and transferring. And then sometimes you can even throw your bags in the washer. For example, depending on the bag, so make sure you're not ruining anything, but making sure that things are clean. This includes your car as well, because as not everybody sees your car, it's just important to make sure that you don't have, whether it's dirt or dog hair or food crumbs sticking to bags or in bags, anything like that. So making sure you're taking the time to clean things. The third one would be temperature control. This is going to be during your shopping in the store and after. This is extremely, extremely important. And one of the first things that you will learn if you do any sort of food safety handlers course, which we will always recommend that everybody does. It is not necessary, but it is so helpful. I actually worked a lot within food ever since I was 15 years old. So I have a lot of knowledge, and I took years and years of those courses because you have to do it every couple of years. I still do it. Even though I know all of the things, I always want to make sure that, my courses are up to date and that anything that may be changing, that I know and have that knowledge. So keeping those items temperature controlled. Bring your hot or cold bags into the store with you. You can put those in the bags as you shop, and then put them in the bags when you're done, as you're going to deliver, to keep everything cold.
Another tip within that, just to add to that real quick, shop the dry items first, especially if it's a store you don't know and you're going a little bit slower. You do that frozen and refrigerated stuff last. And I also like to do produce towards the end to really make sure it doesn't get smashed under anything if it's a larger order. But yeah, make sure that you aren't just walking through the whole store with it thawing out too. If they are getting ice cream, go get all their pastas and breads first, and then move on to the ice cream.
Exactly. And I think depending on where you are, so if you're in a really hot climate, be prepared for that, right? So you may need more than just an insulated bag. You may need to get a cooler with ice or ice packs. If you're in a really cold temperature, not as big of a thing, but you still want to make sure that you're keeping things warm if they need to be warm, or cold if they need to be cold. So just keeping those in mind. Sometimes you may need to put things at the floor of your passenger seat underneath the air conditioning to really keep things cold when you're hitting above 100 degrees, or in some places down south. So keeping those in mind. Ashley, I'll pass it over to you for the rest.
Yeah, and then the next one is just setting clear expectations. So the easiest thing to do with clients is communicate. You're not on a timer. Take your time, make sure they know this is when I'm coming to the store, and this is how to tell me if you want anything different on your order. This is when I'm checking out. This is what that'll look like. And here's when I'm coming to your house. Setting those expectations makes it really easy for clients to be receptive when you need to text them about replacements. And Also, always text them about replacements. Don't ever assume, especially with new clients. Once you know a client really well and they've said, I always want this one instead, you should still check in with them before you check out and say, these are the replacements I grabbed. Make sure they're not paying for something they don't want. But really, with new clients, they might have a different brand preference than you do. So of course, shop with care like you would shop for yourself, but don't assume everyone has your taste. So if you are swapping something for a different brand or a different sort of like organic to non-organic, anything like that, always just let them know or check in with them. An example of this would be, right? Hey, I know you wanted organic strawberries, but their organic strawberries look really bad. Is it okay to grab you the normal ones? They actually look really fresh right now and are on sale. Something like that. Next one, like we talked about communicating on replacements, make sure that they get back to you. If they don't answer you, just don't replace the item. Just get them less stuff. They're only going to pay for what is on that belt when you go to check out at the grocery store and attach that receipt. So if there's anything missing, they're not going to pay for it. They can always run to the store later if they need to in that instance, but really try to make sure you hear from them. If you text them and they don't answer, stop before you check out and give them a quick phone call. Sometimes they just didn't hear their text message, right? Really try a couple ways to engage with them before you check out, and don't just buy things that they're not expecting, because it is a very big hassle to have to deal with returns, both for them and for you. It's easier to just avoid it. And then the next one is just working with your clients. So continue to work with them, talk to them in between orders. These are your clients that you're working with. And so being accountable with them, knowing if they have concerns, maybe they've got an allergy or budget concern, things like that. And you can leave client notes for yourself. You can keep a separate document for yourself to keep track of these, whatever it may be. But they're not just a person that you're going to go to the store, shop their stuff, drop it off, and only ever talk to them again if they order again. They're your clients that you're working with throughout time, right? And so kind of switching your mindset to that a little bit, that this is not just an order, this is a customer, a client, and treating it like such will help quite a bit. Perfect. And then the next one is, this is actually one of our most common questions that we get, is how does it work to shop multiple stores for the same client? This is something that you can do. It can really set you apart from other apps, but it can be confusing. There is a couple different ways to do this. So we'll kind of talk about both of those. But for new clients, you want to have them place an order for each store is what I would recommend. So one for Safeway, one for Costco. And then that way, when you're done at Safeway, you can charge them out before you leave the store. We talk about this within our fraud protocols, but with new clients, you want to make sure their card goes through before you leave the store. You don't want to waste gas to drive somewhere else and then have to deal with making a return. You want to know right then and there before you waste any time or gas. So charge them out before you walk out to your car. Returns are so much easier if you're still in the store. So for a new client, I would have them just do 2 orders. If you do 2 orders and they have a smaller order on their second order, so they're getting your minimum fee instead of your percentage, assuming you're priced in the percentage model that we recommend, you can always choose to give them a discount in that sense. You don't have to charge them 2 full delivery fees if you don't want to. That's up to you and what policy you want to set. And then for repeat clients, it's a little more flexible. Once you really know someone, you've shopped for them many times, their card goes through, you can kind of just run to the second store. Again, make sure your clients are okay with that, check in with them. But you can actually attach multiple receipts to the same order, and it will calculate off of both. They can put all the items in that order and just notate which is which. If they want to, they can put in one order, text you the list for the other store, It can be a matter of, hey, I went to the first store and they were out of a bunch of your stuff. So let's stop at the second store and just get what's remaining. However you would like to do that. But it's a little bit more flexible once there's less of that fraud concern. We do still recommend, of course, making sure that you have charged them out and they've paid before you actually stop at their house and hand them the groceries. That's always recommended, but definitely those new people, make sure you're charging them out before you even walk to your car, which can make it a little complicated for these multi-store orders. In general, also know how they do it with other apps. If they do multi-store, they might get two separate people coming to their house, which can be a jarring experience. So if you are comfortable doing more than one store, let them know that. That's a huge thing that sets you apart.
Exactly. And for those that don't or haven't already taken a look at our fraud articles, we will post those in the description for you guys. This is kind of goes off of the reason why we have you guys charge out new clients in particular at the store. This helps to make sure that all the funding is going to go through, that you're going to get paid, and that they're actually paying for the order before you show up and deliver it. So we will post those as well, so you guys can take a look.
And one other quick clarification on that, I realize it might have said it too fast. If you're doing more than one store or switching stores, don't worry about what the app says as far as what store you're at. It's not stuck to that. So if you go to Target and they're out of everything and you decide to go to Safeway instead, and the customer agrees to that, they don't have to delete their Target order and put in a Safeway one. It'll work just fine on the whatever is already in the app.
Exactly. All right. So number 3, how does our scheduling work? Definitely a lot that kind of goes into this, but first and foremost, the flexibility. You guys have full control over your scheduling, when it is you want to work, how large those order blocks are. You can do 1 hour, you can do 2 hours, you can do 4 hours per block. How many orders per block? So in a 1 hour block, do you want 1 order? 2 orders? In a 4 hour block, are you looking to do 1, 2, 4? You guys can change this how you feel is best for you and your business. So the flexibility is obviously going to be that key. We also have schedule buffers. So this is where you can go in and say, I need 8 hours in advance of all orders. So I need them to get that order in 8 hours before they're wanting it delivered. I personally have a 24-hour, but everybody is different. I think between 4 and 8 hours is what we tend to see quite often for people, just so that you're not getting those last minute orders at 1 o'clock where they're placing an order for 2 to 3 and you're getting done with an order that you just got started on and you need to deliver, and you're not going to be there by 2 to 3. You don't have to be to a client by the time that is stated in the app. That's more of just like an overall for you and them. You guys can always talk about that. If they place an order for that 2 to 3 and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I won't be able to get to you till probably closer to 4 to 5. Is that okay? If they're okay with it, absolutely go ahead with it. But those buffers can make it helpful so that you're not getting those very last minute orders as well. So we will link, we've got an article on those, on the buffers, and you guys can take a look at that and hopefully include that within your scheduling. And then last but not least, we have the piggyback. So the piggyback configuration is a great tool for a lot of business owners on the Pro plan. And this is a way for clients to actually piggyback off of an order that you already have, right? So say a client A is going to Costco, client B hasn't ordered in a little while and they're in the same area. Depending on how you have it set up, they should get a piggyback for Costco that says, hey, Ashley is going to Costco on Tuesday at 4 to 5. Would you like to piggyback on this and get $10 off, or whatever it is that you're offering for the discount? This, again, is helpful for you guys to be able to kind of schedule these orders in at the same store within the same kind of time frame. And it also puts the clients that are in that same area to get those. So you're not going to get a client that's going to be 20 or 30 minutes away necessarily from the client that placed the Costco order, unless that's how you had it set up within your piggyback. So make sure to take a look through the article as well that we post on all of this. And if you have questions, you can feel free to write in and let us know. But Ashley, anything to add?
Yeah, on the what Sarah had talked about if you need to move an order, that's okay. Just to clarify on that, it doesn't even have to be same day. So again, the app says one thing. If you and your client say, actually, Thursday looks a lot better than Tuesday, you can move it in the app if you would like to, but you don't need to. It's not stuck to that. The one caveat to that is if you've gone to the store and you've swiped your Boss card, you now have an outstanding transaction that does need to be closed out within 24 hours. So let's say you've gone to the store and purchased stuff for them, but there was stuff that was missing and you want to check a different day for those items. Maybe the store told you they're restocking in a couple days for that. Go ahead and charge out what they did today. And that way it doesn't interrupt your Boss card working for your next order. And then just have them place another order in a couple days. Again, you can discount them if you want to for those remaining items that you find. But outside of if you've swiped the Boss card, there's not really time limits on there. You could even move something to next week if you need to. We still have credit card authorization for that amount of time. So just be mindful of that. It's not as rigid as it is with other apps. You don't have to cancel an order if it's a reschedule. Perfect. And then another one that we get a lot of questions on is our marketplace. This has a couple different names. Some people also call it the zip code search. So what it is on the Dumpling website at dumpling.us.shop. People can type in a zip code and see what shoppers are active in that area. This will show a couple different things. It'll show maybe some activity in the area, if there's enough shoppers and activity to showcase that. It will also show the couple different profiles that people can look through and then select the shopper that they want to work with. Within this, there are some requirements to be on it. Shoppers do have to be active, order in the last 30 days, a schedule slot open that week. There's a couple different factors. We can put the link in the chat that talks about this. We do also have a course on it in our university courses if that format is easier for you. But essentially, it's just going to show people who are active and actively taking leads on the marketplace. That means that maybe someone will be on there and then all of a sudden they're not. And then they are again a couple weeks later. It could be that they just temporarily opted out of it or didn't meet the requirements for it. It is an opt-in feature. So you will occasionally get people who don't have room to grow their business. They have enough clients right now and they'll just choose to not be listed. If you are utilizing the marketplace, which we recommend doing it in conjunction with your own marketing. And that means market in Facebook groups, your local community, word of mouth, and use the marketplace because it can be inconsistent. Not everyone every day is going to hear about Dumpling in your area and go type in the zip code and connect to you. You're not going to get constant orders from it. Obviously, there are times where it is busier than others, but don't rely on it. Think about it like a cherry on top. And then within that, always use your direct link. If you're talking to someone and you're wanting to get them to shop with you, don't give them the marketplace. Give them the actual link that has your name or business name at the end, or you can send them a text invite from the client tab of the Boss app. And this helps them bypass that search and come straight to you. So they won't see other shoppers in your area, and it'll be categorized in your app as someone that came from your marketing, which can help you later if you're trying to make sense of where everyone came from. So definitely always send them directly to you. That way, if for some reason you're not on the marketplace right now, there's also not that awkward conversation of them saying, yeah, but you sent me there and I don't see you. So just always send them your direct link. The marketplace, use that just for people who are coming through Dumpling. Makes it a lot easier. And then the next piece of the marketplace, especially if there's more than one shopper in your area, make sure that you are represented there in a professional light. So make sure your profile talks about what makes you stand out. Make sure that your picture is friendly, well lit, professional, not too busy of a background. Make sure that the if you've got a great review, you can pin that to the top. We have a course in the university that talks about making your profile stand out, but go look at it as if you were a customer. Go search yourself on it and just see what you look like. And then if you'll see like, oh, I don't quite want to say that like that, you can go edit it. And then, as we talked about, this neighborhood marketplace, this will feature piggyback orders, as Sarah had mentioned. It can also showcase how much activity was done in the last 30 days. If you have a very busy area, it might not show all of it, but it will kind of show to customers, people are actually using this. It is a valid service. And I feel comfortable going and ordering because other people in my area are using it.
Perfect. So next we will touch a little bit on the Pro plan, and we can also include the links that we have for this so you guys can dive a little bit deeper. So with the Pro plan, it is $19.99 to sign up. After that, it is a $29 a month fee. However, all new business owners will get 2 months for free. So that's 60 days. And then after that, that $29 will kick in. Within the Pro plan, there are a lot of benefits. So this includes a Pro tab within the Boss app. And within this, you'll have access to things like instant payout, auto messaging, the piggyback promotions. You'll also be able to customize things like your URL and much more. So the piggyback is the recommended subscription service right now. And for all business owners that are kind of coming in, and we say to just kind of strive for a minimum of 5 orders a month for it to kind of even out. And that $29 a month, really after that 5 orders a month, you're actually going to see benefits from that. Ashley, is there any more to add to that?
Yeah, just to clarify, verbal typo. So the plan that you want to be on is the Pro plan. And the piggyback is one of the benefits of it. So we say both these words so much that happens sometimes. But yeah, within that, what we see is the 5 orders a month not only is the best cost point and value for people, but that's where they actually need some of the features that are included too. Things like auto messaging become a lot more of a necessity. So if you're just getting started, you're feeling overwhelmed, the minimum is 5 orders a month. If you're coming in and you've already got clients with you and you're feeling great, you can do much more than that, of course. But the 5 orders a month is the minimum that we talk about. And that's a standard order size, right? So if you're doing giant orders, it might only be 1 or 2 orders. If you're doing really small orders, maybe just restaurant pickup, you might want to aim more for like 10 orders a month, something like that.
Exactly. Must have had piggyback on the brain, I guess.
Yes. Perfect. And then another thing that we get asked about quite often, and there's a lot of moving parts to this, so people get confused. Of course, we do have courses and a calculator and all of that, but we'll kind of go over the basics again, is pricing. And when does it make sense to give discounts to clients? So with pricing, we recommend starting at 15%, or with a $15 minimum for small orders, with the client paying the 5% platform fee. And so when you actually open your app, this is what will be defaulted there. You'll actually have to move a toggle to adjust the numbers. But the biggest thing is make sure that your pricing is set so that you can be profitable and continue to provide service without relying on tips. Tips are optional. They can do a custom amount, they can tip after the order, they can tip one of the tip options you set, but ultimately they are optional. Most people on our platform do tip pretty well. It's very rare that we actually see someone not tipping, especially when you look at the rates that people are seeing on other apps. But a tip is a cherry on top. It's earned, it's a client chooses to give it. It is not a mandatory fee. So just be mindful of that and make sure that you're setting your pricing in a way that you can appreciate tips without having to be really upset or even financially hurting if you're not getting them, especially with new clients. And so that's one of the reasons we recommend that percentage. If you do a large order, you're going to make more money, which makes sense because you're probably in the store longer for a large order. And And then that minimum fee is if they do a small order. So with this 15%, $15, that's $100 that switches over. So if their groceries are under $100, they'll have your fee. If they're over $100, they'll have that 15%. Obviously, if you change those numbers, what that number is will change, but just as an example. And then you can stagger tip options too. So don't feel like what's in the app is exactly what you have to do. You could do 5, 8, 10, 12, etc. It doesn't have to be 5% increments. Sometimes giving them another option will actually make them tip a little higher than they would otherwise, because they don't have to go from 15 to 20, right? And then don't promise to be the cheapest option in town. Your business provides a ton of value and a very personalized service, and you're not making money off of inflated item pricing or annual membership fees. You have to be able to cover your gas and your car insurance and things like that. You deserve to be paid for the work you're doing. So often you're going to actually be a pretty competitive price with the other apps, but it is a transparent price that is shown up front. And that is value in and of itself. You don't have to be cheaper. So if someone else cuts their rate, you don't have to do that. Obviously, you can make sure you're not price gouging people, but there is a very happy medium in there. If you're feeling stuck on pricing, you've watched our course, you've kind of gone through and you're still just, it's not feeling right for what you're doing, that's okay. Reach out to the coaches. We have an inbox in the Boss app or on the website, and we can link this in the chat, but reach out to us. Sarah and I are happy to help look at what your actual situation is and maybe what numbers might make sense with that.
Awesome. Exactly. Well, with that, we want to thank you guys for joining us today. We really hope you found this information helpful. And as Ashley said before, you can always reach out to us, whether it's about pricing or just questions that you have in general. You can do this through the Help Center at help.dumpling.us or through your Boss app in the Message Center. Hope you have a great rest of your day, guys. Thank you.